does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa.
Uh-oh. I felt that. Y'all be feeling that when y'all get out of bed? You be feeling like someone don't want you to get out of bed. They want you to stay in the bed. The devil is mad. Let's go. Let's go outside. Let's go outside, buddy. Hello. Okay. It's always something. Just another day of me taking care of myself. I want to do my hair. I want to do my nails. I'm going to do my hair first because it has to condition. I'm going to do my nails. And then I'm going to make some food. Let's go outside.
An effect without a cause. Such, for example, was the last line of The Hunting of the Snark, which came into my head, as I have already related in The Theatre for April 1887, at page 332. And thus it came to pass that I found myself at last in possession of a huge unwieldy mass of literature, literature, if the reader will kindly excuse the spelling. The task at first seemed absolutely hopeless and gave me a far clearer idea than I have ever had before of the meaning of the word chaos, and I think it must have been 10 years or more before I had succeeded in classifying these odds and ends sufficiently to see what sort of a story they indicated. For the story had to grow out of the incidents, not the incidents out of the story. I am telling this in no spirit of egoism, but because I really believe that some of my readers will be interested in these details of the genesis of a book. It is, no doubt, possible to write a story in that way, and, if it be not vanity to say so, I believe that I could, myself, if I were in the unfortunate position to eke out a page with 2 or 3 extra lines. But I can honestly say I have put in no more than I was absolutely compelled to do, in which, if any, the text was adapted to the stanza. Perhaps the hardest thing in all literature, at least at arm's length, if possible, the thought that we may not return alive. Yet how do you know, dear friend, whose patience has carried you through this garrulous preface, over you to hear their troubled whispers, perhaps yourself to shape the question with trembling lips?
Let him rest a bit till I give you the word. He's not here yet. However, it was only Bruno, and the Chancellor gave a little gasp of relieved anxiety, pressing the remark in a general sort of way to the Chancellor and the waiters. "To know where Syvlie is? I was looking for Syvlie." "The warden, I believe, Your Highness," the Chancellor replied with a low bow. There was, no doubt, a certain amount of absurdity in applying this title, which, as of course you see without my telling you, was nothing but Your Royal Highness condensed into one syllable. Utter affection for me to pretend to compete. I make no doubt he is right in saying the heart is affected. One thing, at any rate, I have already done is my doctorial capacity, thinking aloud rather than talking. If we could only apply that rule to books. You know, in finding the least common multiple, we strike out a quantity wherever it occurs, except in the term where it is raised to its highest power. So we should have to erase every recorded thought, except in the sentence where it is expressed with the greatest intensity. My lady laughed merrily. "Some books would be reduced to blank paper, I'm afraid," she said. "They would. Most libraries would be terribly diminished in bulk, but just think what they would gain in quality." "When will it be done?" she eagerly asked. "If there's any chance of it in my time, I think I'll leave off reading and wait for it." "Well, perhaps in another 1,000 years or so." "Then there's no use waiting," said my lady. "Let's sit down. Uggug, my pet, come and sit by me." "And you actually got a plunge bath every morning?" said the sub-warden, seemingly in continuation of a conversation with the professor. "Even at the little roadside inns?" "Oh, certainly, certainly," the professor replied with a smile on his jolly face. "Allow me to explain. It is in fact a very simple problem in hydrodynamics. That means a combination of water and strength. If we take a plunge bath and a man of great strength, such as myself, about to plunge into it, we have a perfect example of the science. I am bound to admit," the professor continued in a lower tone and with downcast eyes, "that we need a man of remarkable strength," his sub-excellency remarked, "unless your active tourist goes right under." "But he does go right under," the old man gently replied. "The AT hangs up the PB on a nail, thus. He then empties the water jug into it." The professor bowed, but he didn't smile this time. "I can assure you," he said earnestly, "that provided the bath was made, I used it every morning. I certainly ordered it, that I am clear about. My only doubt is whether the man ever finished making it. It's difficult to remember after so many years." At this moment the door, very slowly and creakingly, began to open, and Syvlie and Bruno jumped up and ran to meet the well-known footsteps. End of Chapter 2. L'ami inconnu. Recording by Claire Gauget. Chapter 3 of Syvlie and Bruno. This is a LibriVox recording. Syvlie and Bruno by Lewis Carroll. Chapter 3, Birthday Presents. "It's my brother," the sub-warden exclaimed in a warning whisper. "Speak out and be quick about it." The appeal was evidently addressed to the Lord Chancellor. "This portentous movement has already assumed the dimensions of a revolution." "And what are the dimensions of a revolution?" The voice was genial and mellow, and the face of the tall, dignified old man who had just entered the room, leading Syvlie by the hand, and with Bruno riding triumphantly on his shoulder, was too noble and gentle to have scared a less guilty man. But the Lord Chancellor turned pale instantly. More bread, less taxes. More bread, the warden repeated in astonishment. Why, the new government bakery was opened only last week, and I gave orders to sell the bread at cost price during the present scarcity. All this seething discontent. For 15 years, put in a deep but very harsh voice, my husband has been acting as sub-warden. It is too long. It is much too long. My lady was a vast creature at all times, but when she frowned and folded her arms as now, she looked more gigantic than ever, and made one try to fancy what a haystack would look like if out of temper. He would distinguish himself as a vice, my lady proceeded, being far too stupid to see the double meaning of her words. No one will enjoy your lecture more. By the way, have you fixed the time for it yet? You've never given one, you know, and it was promised years ago, before you— Yes, my lady, I know. Perhaps next Tuesday, or Tuesday week. Bruno began feeling in his pockets, looking more and more melancholy as he did so. Then he put his thumb in his mouth and considered for a moment. Then he quietly left the room. Wishing you many happy returns of the day, my dear child, he went on, addressing the smiling little girl, who had run to meet him. Allow me to give you a birthday present. It's a second-hand pincushion, my dear, and it only costs 4p halfpenny. Syvlie colored crimson as she took off the butter from her frock, but she kept her lips tight shut and walked away to the window, where she stood looking out and trying to recover her temper. It's not for nothing, growled the angry father. Are you aware, madam, that I pay the house bills out of a fixed annual sum? The loss of all that wasted butter falls on me. He only meant that he loved nobody but her. And instead of being pleased with the compliment, the spiteful little thing has gone away in a huff. The sub-warden was a very good hand at changing a subject. He walked across to the window. My dear, he said, is that a pig that I see down below rooting about among your flower beds? A pig! Shrieked my lady, rushing madly to the window and almost pushing her husband out in her anxiety to see for herself. Whose pig is that? How did it get in? Where's that crazy gardener gone? At this moment Bruno re-entered the room, and passing Uggug, who was blubbering his loudest in the hope of attracting notice, as if he was quite used to that sort of thing, he ran up to Syvlie and threw his arms around her. I went to my toy cupboard, he said with a very sorrowful face, to see if there was something for a present for oo, and there isn't nothing. It's all broken, every one, and I haven't got no money left to buy you a birthday present, and I can't give you nothing but this. This was a very earnest hug and a kiss. Oh, thank you, darling, cried Syvlie. I like your present best of all. But if so, why did she give it back so quickly? And went up to Uggug timidly. I don't mind about the butter, she said, and I'm sorry he hurt you. And she tried to shake hands with the little ruffian, but Uggug only blubbered louder and wouldn't make friends. Syvlie left the room with a sigh. The sub-warden glared angrily at his weeping son. Leave the room, sirrah, he said as loud as he dared. His wife was still leaning out of the window and kept repeating, I can't see that pig. Where is it? It's moved to the right. Now it's gone a little to the left, said the sub-warden. But he had his back to the window, and was making signals to the Lord Chancellor, pointing to Uggug and the door, with many a cunning nod and wink. The Chancellor caught his meaning at last, and crossing the room, took that interesting child by the ear. The next moment he and Uggug were out of the room, and the door shut behind them, but not before one piercing yell had rung through the room and reached the ears of the fond mother. What is that hideous noise? She fiercely asked, turning upon her startled husband. It's some hyena or other, replied the sub-warden, looking vaguely up to the ceiling, as if that was where they usually were to be found.
Then you think, I continued aloud, that we ought sometimes to ask a ghost to sit down. But have we any authority for it? In Shakespeare, for instance, there are plenty of ghosts there. Does Shakespeare ever give the stage directions, hand chair to ghost? The lady looked puzzled and thoughtful for a moment, then she almost clapped her hands. Yes, he does, she cried. He makes Hamlet say, rest, rest, perturbed spirit. And that, I suppose, means an easy chair. An American rocking chair, I think. Fayfield Junction, my lady, change for Elsdon. Things change so here. Whenever I look again, it's sure to be something different. Yet I does my duty. I gets up wriggle early at 5. If I was oo, said Bruno, I wouldn't wriggle so early. It's as bad as being a worm, he added in an undertone to Syvlie. But you shouldn't be lazy in the morning, Bruno, said Sylvie. Remember, it's the early bird that picks up the worm. It may if it likes, Bruno said with a slight yawn. I don't like eating worms one bit. I always stop in bed until the early bird has picked them up. I wonder you've the face to tell me such fibs, cried the gardener, to which Bruno wisely replied, Who doesn't want a face to tell fibs with? Only a mouth. Sylvie discreetly changed the subject. Mind you come back quick, he called after the children as they passed out into the road.
He's the angel. I'm about to go try to sing something and put on my music channel because I haven't done anything on my music channel in a while, so I'm just gonna go outside. Come on, Lou, you wanna go outside? Wanna go outside, Lou? It feels good outside. Come on. Follow the bug, come in. I wanted to ring out the bells. Y'all wanna know the song I've been singing? Hold on. Hey, y'all. Put some makeup on. Be proud of me. I wanted to ring out the bells and fling out my arms here to sing out the news. I have found him, he's the angel, with the dust of the saints in his eyes. A dragonfly was in my house this morning. That was interesting. I didn't realize they flew so fast and they be hitting the walls. Didn't know that. Yeah, it sounds nice, doesn't it? It sounds loud. It's quiet, but it's loud. Especially when the AC's off. It sounds nice, I like it. In summertime, the stars be looking crazy. The very first time that I came out here and I had all my stuff inside and I looked up, I swear, on me, I seen a shooting star. Yes, I wished on it. No, I ain't telling you what my wish is. Okay. I'm gonna sing. Go ahead and follow the music. If you guys want to hear what I'm about to sing, alright.